In this video, we are going to be talking about HTTP request methods. So the request methods really are the backbone of RESTful APIs. Request methods are also known as verbs. These are used to indicate the desired action to be performed. So GET is something that we use all the time. The GET request is for a resource like an HTML file, a JavaScript file, an image, something like that. You're asking the server to get something for you. Your browser uses that all the time when you go to visit a website. There is also a command called head, which is similar to GET but only asks for some meta information, but without the body. Now, there are other important request methods. Post is used to post data to the server. Typical use case for post is like a form data. We've all seen those old clunky forms that you have to submit a button to post data up to the server. There is also put. This is a request for an enclosed entity be stored at the supplied URI. If the entity exists, is expected to be updated. These two are very similar. They're easy to confuse. Post is a create request. Put is a create or update request. So very similar, but the nuance is post will create, put will create or update. So remember that distinction between the two. Delete is a request to delete a specified resource. Trace is a special one. It will echo the received request and also can be used to see if the request was altered by any intermediate servers. Options returns back the HTTP methods that are supported by the server for a specified URL. We also have connect. This creates a transparent TCP IP tunnel, typically for HTTPS, through an unencrypted HTTP proxy. So developing, you won't see these very often. Patch applies partial modifications. This is in RESTful APIs, but from experience, rarely used. There are times that it is used, but you don't see it that frequently. Now, a very important distinction, safe methods. Safe methods are considered safe to use because they only fetch information and do not cause changes on the server. The safe methods are get, head, options, and trace. You can call these and not worry about changing anything on the server. Now, idempotent. That is a tough word for me to say, but idempotence is the quality of an action. Such repetitions of the action have no further effect. So you can call this multiple times and it does not affect the outcome. So put and delete are considered idempotent methods. Safe methods, get, head, trace, and options are also considered idempotent. Being truly idempotent is not enforced by the protocol. So that is something to be enforced by the people writing software. So these methods are considered that way. And by nature, you should be able to do this, but not guaranteed because you're relying on developers handling the request to actually make sure that it is idempotent. Now, non-idempotent methods. So post is not idempotent. Multiple posts are likely to create multiple resources. So have you ever seen websites asking you to submit that form only once? Otherwise, it will happen multiple times. You'll get checked out and billed multiple times. I've seen that plenty on websites. So that is an example of that. Now, this chart here is important. I'm providing this here. You can see where each one of the methods, whether or not it has a request body, whether or not it has a response body, whether or not it's safe, whether or not it is idempotent, or whether or not it is cacheable. So these are all important. So this is a good chart to examine and remember the behavior of these request methods. Now, when we get a request method, the response from the server, there's HTTP status codes that will come back. These series of codes have different meanings. There's a lot of different codes. 100 series are informational. 200 series indicates something that was successful. 300 are redirects. So we're saying you're going to respond back, the server saying that resource has moved. 400 series are client errors, meaning that you violated something, you may have forgot required element, something like that. So the server is saying, I understood your request, but something is wrong with your request. 500 series, these are server-side errors. That means the server got the request, but some internal error happened on the server. Now, some common HTTP status codes that you are going to see. 200 saying OK. 201 says that the resource was created. 204 says the server accepted the request. 301, that is a redirect, so you're calling a URL that got moved. 400 is a bad request saying you have bad data. 401, not authorized. And 404, I'm sure everybody's been browsing the web and has seen a 404 not found. And then hopefully we don't see the 500 internal server errors that often. And 503 is saying that the service is temporarily unavailable. So there are a number of HTTP status codes. In developing RESTful APIs, these are probably the most common ones that you will encounter.